In this video I turn a vintage Nokia cell phone into an RC crawler. Just kidding, although it does look like it. How do I play Snake on this thing? This is the Edgerunner II chassis kit from Quadrablue. It's the successor to the Edgerunner, which if you remember, I did a chassis build on that about a year ago. This new version's been upgraded and features a number of performance-focused features and a super cool, slick sci-fi looking body. I actually built two Quadrablue rigs over this past week. One of them was the Chimera, this kind of lunar rover. And I've had so much fun with these trucks driving them around, I had to share them with you guys. Let's take a closer look at these trucks, starting with the Edgerunner here. This is just a super cool looking kit. I love the style that Quadrablue makes. Super sci-fi, very unique stuff. Got a very like Blade Runner-esque look to them. It's really fun to do something completely off the wall different, and these really scratch that sci-fi itch. I'm a big sci-fi nerd, so these really appeal to me. And seeing these two together, the Rover and the Edgerunner out on the rocks and kind of the barren terrain, looks super cool, like they're exploring an alien landscape. Axel and I have just been having a blast with these things. Now the Edgerunner, not only is it a cool looking futuristic sci-fi design, it's also got a number of performance focused features in it. Now the previous Edgerunner kit like we have here was a cool kit, had some LCG benefits to it, pretty low and slammed, but this thing, Quadrablue, has really taken a bunch of different measures to improve the performance on it. We've got a nice 7-degree angled skid on it. We've got a much thicker chassis with more options for our linkage placement. You can adjust your anti-dive and anti-squat for your linkage placement. It's made from ASA filament, so it's going to be much stronger, more durable. It reminds me a lot of the Warthog, like the SKP Engineering Warthog. It's got that very low, aggressive stance to it. These two would look really good out rolling around together. I think I'll probably do that next, but they have a very similar look and feel to them. Both carry the battery in the back. This one uses the stock SCX24, the 350 milliamp LiPo, fits right in the back here. Weight distribution on this is pretty solid the way that I've got it set up. It's 60-40 with the battery in it. To achieve that, I'm running the Endura plus 4mm axles up front. I do have some Trio brass knuckles in here. These are the Mofo RC deep dish wheels, DDWs, with the brass rings and brass hubs up front. Those are wrapped in the DJ Crawler 68mm pin tires. I've got Flub RC inserts in here, so a lot of performance focused components on this as well to complement this chassis. So not only is it a looker, it's a good performer as well. Opening this thing up, it's on a hinge in the front. We got two latches on the side. You can see the electronics that I'm running in here. I'm using the FuryTech Python. This is the RxF integration with the FlySky GT5 integration. I've hooked this up to the GT5 radio that we have. I'm running a billet aluminum transmission with steel gears in here. I'm running the FuryTech Cedar motor. I wanted an in-runner motor because the way the battery sits on here with an outrunner, I was having a little bit of friction with the motor. So now with this thing, we've got a really nice, clean, and simple layout here with the integrated 2-in-1 ESC and receiver combo from the Python RxF. Just have one nice clean piece of electronics, powerful piece of electronics up here in the front, running this great Cedar motor. So the whole layout in here, very minimalistic, very clean, so you can see that. I'm running long travel shocks on here. I'm running these Power Hobby 48mm double barrel shocks with no springs. I did put rubber bands around the front to kind of limit that drop. This chassis would work best with Super 8 axles because the shock geometry, as you can see with the Endura axles here, the shock placement's a little inward. With the Super 8s where it relocates, that shock geometry would be much better for this chassis. I had some V2 Super 8s on here, but they don't have any brass upgrades and I wasn't happy with the performance. So until I can get some Super 8s with some weight on them, I'm going to use these Enduras. The shocks seem to articulate okay. I've got the bolts loosened a little bit up top to let them pivot a little bit more. What I may do is just put some small spacers in here to bump the shocks out away from the chassis to mitigate binding. Cool looking, fun little kit here. Let's look at the Chimera. So this is the Chimera. It's like a lunar rover style chassis. Now this is available as a print download. You can get the Edgerunner printed and shipped to you as is. Quadrablue is very generous enough to send me this pre-printed painted body. Looks so good. This thing is such a great kit. It fits the C10 wheelbase, so this is currently sitting on the base camp. And to get it to fit, I had this body mount also from Quadrablue that can fit a variety of different mounts. So it's got adjustable magnet mounts on it. You can slide these mounts back and forth. And that's going to allow you to pick a multitude of different bodies that Quadrablue offers, or other bodies as well, maybe, I don't know. But this kit bolts right onto the stock rails. You put it on there, and then you can just drop the Chimera body on it. It's nice and solid. Very cool kit here. So as you can see, these two things look so good together. Just such a neat futuristic sci-fi combo, seeing these things out running around. And Axel was driving the Edgerunner most of this weekend, and I was following him around in the Rover, kind of as the supply vehicle, if you will. But it just had so much fun watching them crawl around. But let's take a look at the Edgerunner. Let's do some performance tests on this. I'm anxious to see how it does from a performance perspective. We've had it out on the rocks and crawling around. I've not done the performance tests on it. Other than doing the weight distribution, that's the only thing I've done. So let's hit the setup table, and then we'll hit the indoor course, and we'll see how this stacks up against some of our other builds. How about the RTI Ramp Travel Index? See how this thing flexes. This might be the flexiest rig we've had on the bench in a while here. Haven't been doing a lot of long travel shock setups here. Right at 22 on the RTI, I would say. Let's try some side hill. It's 40, 45, 50. 55. I'd say 58 on the side hill. Now the vertical. I will say that I should have done longer links in the back. This is running C10 wheelbase. Deadbolt rears would be the right combination for this, and that's what Quadrablue recommends. I will stretch the rear once I get some links on order. We're already at 55. 60. Starting to slide. Slid off there. 65. 66 on the vertical. On the indoor course, some folks have commented and already noticed that I did redo the indoor course. I resurfaced a bunch of sections, repainted a lot of it, put new material and things down. But then I had 4 kids here over February vacation, and a lot of it got ruined again. So I'll be repainting it and touching it up, but nonetheless we did replace and touch up much of the course. We'll see how the old Edgerunner does here. So that longer wheelbase I think would help. Coming into the canyon now. This is one of the sections that I completely redid. Covered it in plaster. Edgerunner making quick work. I've not had this on the course, so this is my first time driving it on this setup. Very composed on the decline there. Looking good. Gonna head into Mini Moab now. One of the things that's cool too that it was unplanned, you can see the red light from the Python Pro emanating through the grill at the top there. Just gives it more character, just adds to the sci-fi look, I think. Let's head into the escalator now. See the slick section at the top. We're going to find traction. I think so. Very nice. How about a decline? We're going to go down the chute. A little bit of lift in the back there, but overall very composed. Got some side hill. We got good numbers on the table. Let's see how it does in practice. Very flat and composed, just as you would expect from something this low and slammed. Now And we'll try Hell's Gate. Doing great up there, no problem. So this thing does have the performance to back up the cool looks. Not only do you get this futuristic sci-fi crawler, but you've also got great performance out of this LCG setup. Got a little bit of tinkering to do. I want to mess with those shocks, if I can get better movement with those, and then I want to stretch the rear for sure. I think the C10, the C-Bolt wheelbase is the ticket and will do fantastic on this. But for a first pass at this, you see my rear is not dropping like I want it to right there. That passenger side is sticking. So yeah, I got to get my shock geometry straightened out. So some tuning to do for sure, but this is a wicked fun project. I had a blast with it. I'm going to go up the canyon one last time, and then I will show you guys some run footage of Axel and I with these two trucks outdoors. It just looks super cool, so I'll show you guys that in just a second. But good run up the canyon to close out this indoor course run. Back from the future to close out this video. Big shout out to Quadrablue for sending me over these rigs to try out. Probably the most fun with an SCX24 build. Couple of SCX24 builds that I've done in a very long time. Just so refreshing to do something so off the wall different. I love the style that Quadrablue puts into their builds. The print quality is good, the things look great, and they seem to be very durable too. Time will tell. Axel has claimed this rig, so we'll see how it holds up against the maximum durability tester. I'm excited to keep tinkering with the Edgerunner II. I think there's a lot of performance capabilities still to get out of this thing. When I get the shocks all sorted out and I stretch that rear, I think this thing's really going to come to life, even though we saw really impressive numbers on both the setup table and on the indoor course. But overall, a couple of really fun projects. Great way to really lose yourself in the crawling experience and kind of imagine yourself in another world. Definitely cool for a sci-fi geek like me. And if you can relate to that, or if you just want to give these things a shot, I will put the link in the description down below for the Quadrablue Etsy page. And make sure to check out Quadrablue's social media pages as well. They've got a bunch of great content on the other builds and bodies that they put out for the SCX24. But guys, let me know your thoughts. What do you think of these two builds from the future here? And as always, I appreciate you guys. Thanks so much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you haven't done so, and I'll see you in the next video.